on this video tutorial, I am going to show you some ideas. We're actually going to do one of how you can add dimension to your projects using these little teeny flowers from Dollar Tree. We're also going to talk a little bit about buttons, and we're going to talk a little bit about aquarium pebbles. So, as you're hopping on, say hello, let me know where you're watching from. Feel free to sprinkle all that normal good stuff. At the very end, let me know if you would like to see my complete supply list. All right, so where to start? Well, first of all, let me just tell you that you can't see it, but I have a complete disaster here on my little craft desk. And what we're going to be making is a beaded garland using some of these little wood slices, which we're gonna paint. I have already painted mine. One coat front and back with this Waverly paint. This one is called Scallion. This one is called Maize, M-A-I-Z-E. This one is called Pool. And this one is called Ballet Slipper. So that was the first step. I painted my little rounds. Okay, and now before I jump into actually doing this craft, let me show you some examples of what I am talking about. I think anytime you can add some dimension to a project, it makes it more interesting. It makes it like three-dimensional. And so here are just a few recent examples. This was a little, I don't know, banner thing that I made a few weeks ago. And I used some Dollar Tree wood buttons on the flowers on this wreath that go around this stencil that says, "To plant a garden is to believe in tomorrow." So that was one example. Excuse me. Here's another example, which is always sitting right here behind me. I don't have my camera pushed up high enough, but this was a project that I did 3 years ago, something like that, where I stenciled Child of God in the center, and then I drew a round, kind of like a wreath around it. And these are aquarium sea pebbles. And I think they look like beautiful little stones. Anyways, if you want this information about where to get aquarium sea pebbles, you can get some of it at Dollar Tree. You can also order this kind of thing on Amazon. Okay, so those were examples. Here are another couple of examples. I did these projects during a Christ in Crafting. I think it was during a Christ in Crafting. Maybe, I don't know, 3 weeks ago. And they're just little shelf sitters that I decoupaged and painted and stenciled and added these little flowers. So that's another idea. Here is another idea. This is this adorable, oh my gosh, this is the cutest stencil. I love the stencils, by the way, that are realistic looking sometimes. And this actually looks like a vintage typewriter. So I made this last year or the year before, and I added all these flowers coming out of the top of the typewriter where the paper would be. Isn't that cute and different? Okay, and then here's something that I made last night, which is something we're going to pursue a little bit more, but I need to go get some more paintbrushes. You guys, look how cute this is. It says Grow Positive Thoughts, which is one of the little pieces of the Spring Mini stencil from MagnoliaDIY.com. And these are cruddy old paintbrushes that become the base of these flowers. And these are all Dollar Tree flowers. So I'm excited to do more with this idea. This came from an idea that I saw on Pinterest, which was painted or decoupaged or something. It wasn't 3D like this, but you can see basically I attached my using hot glue and E6000, and then I glued the flowers over the top of the bristles. So I think that turned out pretty darn cute too. Okay, so for today, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how you can make these little wood rounds that you could put on the end of a beaded garland. So here's one that we will finish up, and I just tied a couple slices of some wired ribbon on the end. These are inexpensive beads, nothing fancy about that. Okay, and on the front of this one, I did this adorable stencil, which is part of the Spring Minis. Isn't that cute? Oh my gosh. So adorable. This is a great set. It has, I think it has 12 pieces that are all spring themed. Everything from Easter to flowers to faith. Like, here is His grace is enough. Here is Jesus. Here is Hosanna. And then we have some kind of fun little Easter shapes. So we're going to jazz this up. I also made this one. And I made this one. And we'll decorate the front of these. But let me show you basically how this works. Okay. These are just little wood slices that have a hole drilled in them. And I took the twine out of it so I could replace it with what I wanted to do. I painted one coat of my paint on the front and back. Then, when it was dry, I took them outside and I gave them a quick coat, front and back, because I knew I wouldn't remember which side was which, with this clear matte sealer spray. And this makes it so that you get a much crisper stencil impression. Okay, so this one says to plant a garden. We're going to add some flowers, or a flower right there. This one says spring. It's got a little watering can. We'll add a dimensional flower right there. And then we're going to put some flowers in this little wheelbarrow. But let me show you how this part is done basically. Okay, and I'm going to see what I can fit on here. It might have to be another one of these. Okay, let's try that. So I'm going to fuzz it on my jeans for 2 seconds. And I'm just putting it on the top of my round. These stencils, in case you don't know, they are awesome. They are reusable many, many, many times. They're adhesive, they're mesh, they're very detailed, they're great. Okay, let me find a squeegee. This is white chalk paste. I'm just going to take a little teeny dip. And we'll apply it to the front of our stencil. Once you get it on your stencil design, you want to just take the big globs off. And then you want to force yourself to stop and close your chalk paste ASAP. By the way, in case you are brand new, yes, I did spray my wood, Diane. I sprayed it with this after the paint was dry. These stencils should not be used with paint on them. You can paint a surface and stencil on top of a painted surface, but don't use paint on your stencils because it dries very quickly and very permanently, and the little mesh teeny weeny holes that give your stencils their designs will get permanently clogged. You can't get it out. It makes it so that you can only use your stencil once or twice. What you want to use instead is chalk paste for a project like this. Then I will throw this in a tub of water, I'll spray wash it out, and put it back on the sheet, and it'll be reusable many, many, many times. So, okay, I just threw it in my little tub of water. So that is what that looks like. Let me set this aside. All right, let's come back to these. So, I don't know if you have tubs and tubs of pieces or full flowers, but I do. And so I was just looking through, I have a couple of these Ziploc bags that have little pieces, and I just was looking through to see what I could find that were smaller flowers like this. And I have a couple that are ready to go. So I cut the backs off of them pretty short. And look at this sweet little one. It's like a daffodil. Okay, and for this one right here, we're gonna do this bright pink. I think that needs to be a little bit shorter. A white, and then a purple. And I'm just applying these with plain old, nothing fancy, hot glue. But I'm using a low temperature hot gluing device because I am not willing to get burned anymore by a hot temperature hot gluing device. And I will clean the glue strings off when I'm all finished up. But look how cute that is. Okay. What color should we do? I think we should do this little light yellow daffodil on my blue. For this size of projects, you do want your flowers to be sort of the right scale. So you don't want them to be too gigantic. And I maybe should have scooched it over a little bit so you could read that first word that it says plant. But, oh well. Let's see, what do we want here? I think I'll just do this little white one, which needs to have the back of it cut off a little bit shorter. And that is pretty darn much it. I really just wanted to give you guys the idea of adding dimension with these teeny weeny little flowers that you can get at Dollar Tree. You can get them everywhere, you know, different styles and whatnot, but they don't have to be from Dollar Tree. But anyways, they add a lot to your project. And I will come back and finish this one. And I will get close-up pictures, but let me just show you one more quick time what I started with. Let me get a little bit of room on my table. Okay, I started out showing you these. These are some little shelf sitters that I made a few weeks ago. And just for fun, I added some flowers to the side of the church. In Christ alone, my hope is found. That's an awesome stencil. Okay, that was one. And then this is another. I really loaded this one up with a bunch of flowers. Because it was going into this big empty space. And I love the design of this. I did this a while ago, and just so you know, I did it maybe possibly 2 years ago. I can't remember for sure. But anyways, it was not my original idea. So I had seen someone else do flowers up here. I don't even remember who that was. And this was just my spin, my interpretation of that idea with those super inexpensive Dollar Tree flowers. And then this is something I was working on last night, which we'll be doing again, but I need some more paintbrushes because you know what I did with paintbrushes 2 Christmases in a row? I turned them into Santa ornaments. One year I did them all red and did polka dots, and they make the perfect Santa Claus if you hang him this way. And you can put, like this being his hat, and you put some fur on there, then you put a little nose or something right here, and this is his beard, and this is the top of his Santa hat. Last year I did pink, and they turned out adorable. So I need some more paintbrushes. This I just was working on yesterday. Isn't it cute? And we'll play with this idea some more. I'll probably do some where I paint the paintbrushes and some where I do a super neutral interpretation of it to go in my house. And I'll figure out a design or something to go with it. So that's everything I wanted to show you. I also pulled this out to show you at the start of the video. If you missed the beginning and you want to see it again, it says buttons. You can always use buttons to add dimension. And I also pulled this down to show you. These are aquarium pebbles. And they look like little gems. I mean, they're really pretty. I made this many years ago, and it's been sitting up here behind me for eons. Anyways, okay, well, I hope that I gave you some ideas to inspire you to make your projects have dimension. No matter what they're made out of, you can almost always add some little bits of something, buttons, a fish aquarium, pebbles, flowers, and just add a little something extra to your design. So hopefully you're inspired. And if you decide to do any of these ideas, I would definitely love to see pictures. You can put those here or over at the private group that I've set up for us to show our craft projects. That's free. It's called Dreamy DIY. You do have to join that group. You have to ask to join it and agree that you won't share any sales information or be negative towards other crafters or share other crafters' videos there. That's it. It's pretty darn easy. And it's a great place to go when you're like, what can I do? Because there are thousands of pictures of projects that y'all have made and put over there. So if you haven't joined that yet, I definitely recommend it. Anyways, I hope that you have a blessed and wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you again either tonight, most likely tomorrow, for another craft project that's going to be quick and easy, affordable, a little different sometimes, and that almost always will involve either faith, family, or flowers. Lots of flowers.